mistaken, then that brings us down to communications from Mayor and Council. Do we have any communications from any of the council members on any of the activities in the past couple of weeks? Mr. Thompson, you're just dying to tell us about something.
No, not at all.
Well, you're not dying to tell us, but you want to tell us.
Just dying.
From overwork.
Yeah, Saturday night, the West Grey ATV Club held their wing night and benefit for Rob Moore, who's battling cancer. It was a very well attended function. 440 people were served in about an hour and a half, so things went really well. I do have a figure, just a rough figure, but the Legion did very well on their on the bar, and there's a good amount of money was raised for Rob. So that was just part of the weekend for Rob's benefit. So it went well, and appreciate everybody attending.
Very good. Anybody else? Anything else? Yes, Councillor Lawrence. Carol.
Well, I was just going to say the Friday night was a roaring success as well. I believe that was organized by, well, I know Sherry Mollison, Dave's daughter, and the family, I believe. And it was so well organized and so well attended. It was just a fantastic crowd, and I know they did very, very well from what I hear. Yeah.
Excellent. Deputy Mayor Bell. John.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, and I was able to participate Friday and Saturday night also, and I guess, Mr. Mayor, between yourself and myself, we were the ones that ended up in jail the longest because people were willing to donate money to keep us there. So that's how that worked. You did beat me, though, by a little bit. I understand. So
on the donation part, or I know I beat you on the minutes part for sure.
The donation and the minutes, yes.
Yes, it was a tremendous show from the community. What a number of people had come up to me on Friday night and again on Saturday, and just amazed at you know what a community does when one of theirs falls by. Do we do it for everyone out there? No, but in one of those cases where it's really needed, everybody steps up, and it was tremendous both Friday and Saturday. Just like to say, I participated in the Terry Fox run on Sunday. I had the opportunity to, Denny Schneider had his pace car there. So I got to start off the walk by driving the pace car about 100 yards, and then said, okay, now get out and do the rest of the walk. I thank Councillor Thompson for kind of coming along and trying to figure out where it was, and then realizing, oh, we got this far to walk and I got to walk home. But no, Rob was there as well too. Participated. I think the participation may have been down slightly this year for the simple fact that Friday night was a big function for Rob Moore at the arena, and then Saturday night at the Legion. One other thing, on the Thursday night, the food bank had a dinner at the Legion as well too, which I was able to attend. They had a very good crowd there. So by Sunday, when it came to the walking at the Terry Fox, I know they did quite well on donations. I didn't see quite as many, exuberant bodies going as what we have in the past. But thanks to the Rob, oh boy, now I'm going to be caught. Donna or Deb, his wife, have taken it on, the Edwards family, and did a tremendous job of getting that organized as well too. So, and a couple of functions, anniversaries that I've participated in. A former council member for West Grey, way back at amalgamation time, Bob and Jean Miller, were celebrated their 40th wedding anniversary a week ago Sunday at the Lamlash Hall. Very well attended, and a number of individuals there, and I think Councillor Lawrence, you made that one. And then another longtime resident of West Grey, Jim and Wilma Lindsay, on Sunday after the Terry Fox run from 2 to 4 at the Legion, celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary. And I know that I have a certificate, and I'll be delivering that this week to another milestone, which is another individual that sat on Glenelg Council for a number of years. Bill and Jean Anderson are celebrating their 65th wedding anniversary come this Wednesday. So I have a certificate to go out to Bill and Jean, and I believe on Saturday, if I'm looking at Bill and Jean's neighbor here, Saturday they have a come and go tea, or is it Sunday?
No, the 27th.
Sorry, the 27th.
Yes.
Yeah. That's still a Saturday, isn't it?
It is a
Yeah,
Saturday,
okay.
yes.
Saturday, the 27th at the United Church, they're having a come and go tea for Bill and Jean there for their 65th wedding anniversary, which is pretty amazing these days. And that's about all I have, other than that's from past. Coming up this weekend, of course, one of the final fall fairs, the Newstead Fall Fair, starting off with the Ambassador Program on Friday night, Saturday the Fall Fair, and then they'll have their chicken dinner on Sunday afternoon. So anybody that has some time, come on down to Newstead and celebrate the Fall Fair. One of the last ones going. Carol? Okay, well, one of the, yeah, whatever it is in Newstead, you know it's going to be a lot of it and it's going to be good. So good for that. Okay. Anything else on communications? Well then, we have two delegations this evening, and see, we have a couple of them are already here, obviously. So I'm going to welcome Donna Mann. There she is, back in the corner. Donna has done a lot of historical research and just wanted to, for the plans to honor the pioneers from the West Bentinck Cemetery. So Donna, I'm going to turn the floor over to you. Microphone is there, and there's a black button on the outside. When it turns red, you're live. So everything you're saying now is recorded. Just remember that.
Thank you.
Very good, Donna. Welcome.
Thank you. Mayor, Deputy Mayor, councillors, thank you for accepting my request to come before you and visit with you in this way. I visited council in November 2013 with 3 areas that I was exploring. The condition of the Green Road on which the West Bentinck Presbyterian Cemetery is located, concession 9, lot 11, and secondly, the perpetual care of West Bentinck Presbyterian Cemetery provided by West Grey Township, and finally, the possible cemetery service in the future. So I'm here tonight to update that information and to provide some further plans about cemetery service and to make a request for the care of the cemetery. And I thank Ken Gould for ongoing conversation through the year, and I appreciate that, Ken. Thank you. So, number one, the condition of the road, I just leave that in your hands and hope some further care will be given for environmental concerns before the cemetery service, which I'll speak to later. The second point, the cemetery itself, I understand that work, improvement, repair to the Pioneer stone encasements has been carried out. And after meeting a couple of weeks ago with the committee that has gathered around this project, it was agreed that I would come tonight and request some cedar trees to be planted behind the cemetery stone encasement, as well as cedar trees to screen the back part of that cemetery, to fill the path that leads up to the top part of the cemetery. And third and final update is that we do have a cemetery service planned at West Bentinck Presbyterian Cemetery on Sunday, June 28th at 2 p.m. Plans for refreshment location to be determined. There's been no advertisement or no publicity done at this point, only that a Presbyterian minister has accepted the invitation to preside, and we have a bagpiper, so we've gone that far. Special recognition will be given to those pioneers that formed the community up there, and especially to men like Walter Laidlaw, who came to Canada in 1834, took up 200 acres, lots 9 and 10, concession 11 of Bentic Township to build a home and community there. And records say that he had a keen interest in government, especially municipal affairs of the township, and served as reeve and deputy reeve in those early years of the township of Bentic. And we'd like to remember that and to inform people of their humble beginnings that came as a result of these men and women who pioneered up there. I feel the service will be well attended, as members of the family buried there are already corresponding with each other and asking questions, and seems to be quite a bit of excitement about that, and I'm very happy about that. So that's the end of my information and my requests. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them if I can.
Any questions from any members of the council at this point in time about working on this project? Do you have a copy of the presentation? Mark's fingers work pretty quickly, but apparently they're not quite as quick as what your speech is. So if you...
You would like a copy of my remarks, you mean?
Yes.
Yes, I can give you that.
Yeah, that would be great. We'd appreciate that. I think, Councillor Eccles, you got, oh, you had that look on your face there. Certainly with Ken, communicating back and forth, I think we have staff updated, and going forward, working into our next year, well, obviously it'll be another council, but giving us a good update on it and knowing where we're going. And it's one of the things that strategically we did have in our strategic plan, and I hopefully it'll be kept in the strategic plan going forward, is recognizing those forefathers.
Yes.
That did
And four mothers.
and foremothers, and using that in the generic sense,
Yes.
forefathers and foremothers, four persons. Thank you. I think there was a few more than four, but in going forward, we'd certainly be taking that into consideration and see, what is going to be required for this type of a service. You mentioned about the cemetery, and Ken, I'm going to have to. Do we do anything there with that at the present moment? I didn't think that we did, but we have in the past couple of years taken on a couple of those pioneer cemeteries, and
The cemetery itself is,
This will be another
is
one.
very nicely laid out, with the stone encasement at the front, and even though some of those stones have been broken and cracked, they have been maintained and re-cemented, and it's very nice spot there. And I realize that there's been vandalism there, and that often happens in places that are set back from the public. But we want to remember that it's holy ground, and we want to recognize the people that have turned the sod and cleared the land, and gave us what we have built on from their efforts. So, but I can continue to work with Ken, and we can, figure out what's workable.
what the next steps we're going to have to
Yes.
do to work towards our end goal.
Yes, if that's acceptable to council, that's fine with me.
Well, I don't see anybody here. I'm pretty sure that no news or no words from this side is good news for you, so drive on, Donna.
Thank you very much.
We will give you as much support as we can, certainly towards that, and look forward to working with you to recognize those
I
ones.
appreciate that.
Now,
Thank you.
They're probably, so I don't know, this won't be your last project. I know you've done quite a few, so we'll be looking forward to whether the next one's in Naya or at Glen Roden. I'm not sure where you're going to go to next, but I don't think this will be the last time we see you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Donna. Okay. Our next delegation, the opportunity to one of the dinners in the last week, meet an individual and has come up with an idea for us. And I see Marion is here, Miss Shannon, and I ask, we'll look for your presentation on what we discussed later last week. And I think Larry has a bit of a, oh, and we've got a handout as well too on your PowerPoint. So Marion Shannon has a PowerPoint presentation to make for us.
Thank you. I'm known for having
Just
foot mouth.
one, Marion, if you could please, your mic at the bottom on the right-hand
Oh,
side.
sorry.
Just
Yeah.
push the button and,
There's a black button there that it's on the deck on the right-hand side. You push that and it should turn red. There you go. Now you're live. And as I said to Ms. Mann, everything you say now is being recorded by Adam back there.
Okay. Well, thank you for inviting me, Kevin. Yes, we were at the Food Bank Drive on Thursday night, and I'm known for foot and mouth disease, and I've been talking about this to my friends for a while, but never really did anything about it. So the Rona building, the previous Rona building in Durham, we've been following a bit of history on what's happened with it. And I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I moved into the area back in 2005, trying to kind of retire from the corporate world, in which I opened up the business called Winnie Acres in Priceville. And it went from a guest ranch to a huge equine operation. So I sold that a year ago, December, and moved right into Durham area in the rural. And again, I'm trying to retire, but I've gotten into doing stained glass. I'm in it now in an art group and do art shows. But before I moved up here, I actually ran the Fergus Market in Fergus for years, and I was one of the original people that started the Ontario Farmers Market Association back in 1990, 1991, when there was only 60 farmers markets in Ontario. Now there's over 180 farmers markets in Ontario. I also was one of the first manager of a female manager. There was only 3 of us in all of Canada that managed shopping centers, and I worked with Cadillac Fairview. I had also won awards with the ICSC in the States. So to let you know, I do have a fair bit of background in marketing, advertising, and business. And I've come up here to slow down, but I'm watching the town of Durham, and I see the area that has so much potential and not a lot happening. So I've come to you bought this Rona building, and I just see this opportunity that will really put us on the map for both the municipality, the area, and most importantly, help the downtown core of the merchants and the farmers in the area. Larry, can I get you to put up my screen there that says goals?
Do my best, I'm not technically savvy, but
The evening tonight, I have 2-phase proposal. Phase 1 is my goal to keep the Christmas dollars in Durham. 2, to make Durham a destination shopping experience. 3, to assist the downtown shops of Durham. And 4, to utilize the vacant old Rona building. Now, when I spoke to Kevin on Thursday night, he was quite eager, and on Friday morning at 9 o'clock, we were in the Rona building looking at it and seeing if it would work for my ideas. And it was a perfect replica, a nice setup. It reminded me of the St. Jacobs Market building that burnt down, I guess, 2 years ago. And in this area, I can see us opening up a Christmas market that would run from November 7th to December the 19th. I've talked to a few people. We're going to have no problem. We'll be overflowed for the amount of space that we've got to run a 7-week program with artisans in the area, which will also include some local farmers with maple syrup and honey and goat cheese. And we're not going to have any secondhand products. There's not going to be a flea market to be seen in there. It's all going to be artisans, home shopping, and farm. This area, what I really loved about it is it's how many artisans are in the area and crafters. And whenever I do a craft show in Durham, it's always very successful, very well received. And the local people that are creative are just amazing. So to do this, we worked it out that we can put in approximately 50 crafters. The idea is to have it open on Fridays from 3 to 8. I also spoke with Bob Eckert of The Florist. He agrees that Friday from 3 to 8 would be a really good time to have it. All the vendors that would participate in it would be required to be in attendance and have their booth there for 7 weeks. One of the main reasons it will be a great venue for crafters is they don't have to set up and take down. I know many of us, as we get into crafts as we get older, and it's really hard setting up and taking down, and to have a permanent location is just what we're looking for. So we started in November and ran it in December for 7 weeks. And the cost to the vendor would be $25 per week for an 8x6 space, $35 per week for a 10x10 space, and anyone who needs a hydro to put lights on their merchandise, they would pay a $15 one-time fee to pay for the outlet. They have to agree to be there for 7 weeks, and they have to make the full payment for the full 7 weeks at the same time. They also will have to sign an agreement, which you'll see on the very back page of your first brochure. That's just a sample, which alleviates liability for you. We will, I shouldn't say, it won't alleviate liability for us. It will alleviate anything stolen. If the place burns down, nobody can come after you for goods. I'm taking it, they will also sign saying that they will not sue you should anything happen to them, and it's their responsibility for insurance. The other thing about the waiver, it would say they can't transfer their space to somebody else. They have to keep that space and they have to keep it manned. And if they're not available that Friday, one of those Fridays, they have to have an associate look after it for them. I've done to make this successful, one thing about marketing, I have done things like opened up the most obscure place, but if you do your marketing and you've got your product, you'll be successful. If you try and open it with only a couple vendors and you don't do anything to entice people to come, it's not going to succeed. It's like opening a shopping center that's 30% vacant. It starts off on the wrong foot and it never grows. And that's the same thing with our market, that we need to know we've got it filled. To make it enticing for both the consumer and the vendors, we're going to offer the first 25 customers through the doors on the opening night that are over 18 years of age a gift. And the gifts will be provided by every vendor. Every vendor that takes part in it for the 7 weeks will be required to donate a gift. We're also going to work in conjunction with the Durham businesses. I talked to Bob Eckert and he's very enthusiastic. So we're going to do a $200 Durham dollars gift. And how to win this $200 in Durham money is going to be via finding the 12 teddy bears throughout the market. So we're going to have 12 Christmas teddy bears in different stores, which will get them through the market, looking at merchandise, because they're going to be trying to look for the bears, and they have to fill out the ballot listing where all these 12 bears are. Put it in the ballot box. And then at the end of November, we'll do the draw, and that person has $200 to spend in Durham in the stores. We're very lucky. The Durham BIA has actual Durham dollars, so we don't have to worry about producing any. The other thing, I talked with the Saugeen Conservation, who I work with a fair bit also, and they have said that we can have the Santa drop, the Santa costume, and anything I want to use for the market to decorate it. So the week before they open up Christmas in the Country on November 27th, I get to go in there and say we want this, this, and this, so we can have a really nice Santa display. For doing Santa photos on Friday. Again, a nice thing for the local community to bring them so they don't have to go to big regional shopping centers. And we would start that in December after the Christmas parade. Also, at the front of the building, at the entrance, as I marked it down here, right here, we'll have a non-profit group each week. The non-profit group can do a bake sale. They can be selling raffle tickets or something like that. And that'll be of no charge to them because we want to be part of the community. We'll also have a permanent spot for the food bank because this is the time we need to raise money and get canned goods for the food bank for Christmas. So we will also have a setup display for that. So that's at the very front. Up there, and then in here, which is going to be tight, but we're going to try and get all our vendors in here and down in farther. Thank you, Larry. That will be all for artisans to go in, and we may have to branch into this side here if we get the full, like if we have to do an overflow. Then on the left-hand side is where our food, we're going to have bakers, people that do baking, some really good bakery people we've got in touch with, we know. We'll have honey, maple syrup. These are all artisans. We will probably have somebody who's selling trees. And so it is going to be kind of like a farmer's market, but it's going to be called a Christmas market. And this is for 7 weeks. Our advertising will include a banner on the building saying Durham Market. We're going to need signage on the highway, on Highway 6, coming and going out of the city, out of the town, saying that we're here. We're going to have to print posters and give them to all the community, all the stores that will put community posters, and we'll also have our vendors all putting up posters where they in their travels too. We're also, I want to do post office mailers to the Durham, Holstein, Mount Forest, Markdale, and all of West Grey through the post office, and press releases to the newspapers and radio stations, local website listings. There's so many free local websites that we can get on, like Ontario craft shows, Ontario markets, what's happening for Christmas festivals. So these are all free listings, plus of course Kijiji. People do look at Kijiji. And then for newsprint ads. The next page you'll see in our thing is our budget. We've got our vendors with 8x6 space, 30 of them, and that will bring in a revenue of $5,250. Then we have vendors 10x10 space, 15 of those, $3,675. And then those that want hydro, I estimated 15 people wanting hydro, so $225, which gives us a total revenue for the 2 months of $9,150. Now, I went lean on the vendors. I'm sure already we're going to be able to get more. Bev, who I'll introduce you to in a minute, she does a stop and shop, and she has a waiting list, and when I've talked to her, we'll have no problem filling it with this amount. Our expenses to do this event will be the $500 to do our Win Christmas Dollars event, $200 for the gift certificates, the printing of the ballots, the purchase of the bears, and the Santa photos. That is $300, which is going to basically, everything is free other than the person who plays Santa and the Santa helper. The photographer will be charging a nominal fee to pay for the prints, so all we need to do is staff it. Yeah, we might get the fire department to donate a Santa too. Anyway, signage, I've allowed $1,000. Printing, which is miscellaneous printing, would be $200. Media advertising, $1,000. Utilities, $1,000. I said snow removal, no cost, because we've got the Durham Works department. Market manager and supervisor, I put in a budget of $500, which I would recommend bringing in Bev. She does the Stop and Shop in Holstein. She does one in Mount Forest. She has the connections. She also assisted with the ladies shopping weekend in Durham that was hosted last weekend, and she also did the assisted with the home hardware garden show. So I think she'd be a great asset to the team to make it happen, because I will be in Europe for 3 weeks in November. So the net profit is $3,850, and that will hopefully cover the municipality's costs for what's sitting vacant. I'm sure that's money in your pocket. So that's my proposal for the immediate that I'd like to get approved, and so we can get started on. And then, can we hand out the second phase? Oh, the second phase is, if I can bring it here for me now. I feel this is going to be a very big success for the municipality, for West Grey, and definitely for Durham. My other goal is to stimulate the Durham economy in a continuous way, and to bring more shoppers from our local communities into the area rather than go to Hanover. One thing Kevin and I had very in common Thursday night, we don't like Walmart. From the shopping center industry, I've witnessed Walmarts destroy many downtown cores. And farmers markets are definitely the way to go to make your niche in the market and get people to come. And the third goal is to become a tourist destination. So, which I've already said, how you ask? Would like to see that location become a true, authentic farmers market. Farmers market, to be an official farmers market, you need 51% farm-related vendors. The other 49 can be whatever you want. However, I do not want to see any used product. It has to be all unique. So out of the 51%, that can be a person who knits with wool from their lamb. It can be a person who does preserves. It can be a chicken farmer. It can be a butcher. It can be a baker. It can be a person who has honey. It's not hard to do 51% of farmers-related product. And the advantage that we have with that building is it's a building. So whether it's rainy outside or it's cold outside, people can come. Farmers don't have to worry about the sun pelting on their fruits and vegetables and wilting them, because there's the overhang outside in the lumberyard. The successful markets are the ones that do have a building. The other markets, even Katy Market, when it rains, everybody disappears. And the vendors are gone, and it's all closed up by 10:30, 11 because it rained. We have an advantage that no matter what the weather, we're going to be open and people can come. It will also entice your butchers and your bakers and your people with the cheeses, because they can put a cooler in this section where I've marked down food. Larry, can you point out that whole area? We can put, those vendors can put coolers in there, in which of course we'd meter the hydro use, so they would pay for the hydro to be there. and they know they can just bring in their produce each week and sell it. 80% of the farmers markets are operated by municipalities. In 1991, there was only 60 farmers markets in Ontario. Now there's over 180. And 80% of those are operated by municipalities. And it's been proven that it increases and stimulates the economy, brings money into the area. And as I said before, we have the luxury of a building so that we can become a very successful farmers market, not as big as St. Jacobs, but along those lines. And if any of you have been around long enough, you probably recall when Fergus was the size of Durham, and they had the farmers market there, and it was very successful, and now it's a shopping center. But it just shows that we have that opportunity for growth. And one of the most unique things about Durham that Fergus never had is we have a lot of great farmers in the area and artisans. The creativity in this area is just amazing. It just boggles my mind. Many of these artists, if they were in Toronto, their merchandise would be selling 10 times more. And if we got to be known, the Torontonians would be coming out here to our market. To do a farmer's market, this is the time to start planning. You don't start in March or April. You start now. And I've attached 2 pages from the Farmers Market Association, one showing all the benefits of the community, anywhere from stimulating the economy, markets are a draw for shoppers from neighboring communities. It encourages people to shop locally. One of the things that I found very interesting, 75% of farmers market shoppers return week after week. And when they come, they end up having lunch in town, they end up getting their other things in town, and it becomes something that will be a normal weekly event for them to come here. Also, again, it keeps farmers farming. So if there's any questions, tonight I'd like to see approved to go ahead with the Christmas market because time is of the essence. And then I would also like to see approval for us to continue to pursue the potential of doing a permanent farmers market year-round to open next spring, early summer. So any questions?
Now's the time. No questions? Beth, start us off.
You're only having it open the Friday 3-8, just the one evening?
Yeah, Friday 3 days. If you do it too many days, you'll lose the momentum of your customers. Friday is your traffic time. Friday is also a time where they can come before they take off to out of town on Saturday, so it's not inconveniencing them to get started. I would say in the future, I would hope we could open 2 days a week. But right now, I think one night, because if you do it for 2 days, they're gonna sit there with hardly any business happening.
And also, moving on to the spring for the farmers market, would you verify that they actually it was market food? Because a lot of times people call it a farmer's market. They go to food, the same place that the grocery stores buy it, and they come up here and they set up. Drives me crazy. And it's not a farmer at all. It's just and that's fine, but you can't call it a farmer's market if they're just going down to the depot and bringing it back. And
you're correct. There's usually when we did our farmers market, when we started the Farmers Market Association, that was one of the key things, that people go to the food terminal and they come to it and then they say it's a farmers market. And there was a lot of heated discussion on that, and the bottom line was they are not considered, if you count them as one of your people in your thing, they're not part of that 49%, or 51%. 51% have to be true farmers. But that person,
product?
yes.
Okay.
But that 49% can be anywhere from a person who goes to the food terminal to a person who buys their product wholesale and brings it to your market to sell. that's the leeway. And to have a farmer's market, we need that person who does go to the food terminal.
Okay, you're talking about things like cheeses and meats and things. So are they going to provide their own coolers and
Yes.
inspections for
Yes.
this meat? And it's all, like, is it going to be inspected by health inspectors coming in, et
They,
cetera?
they basically have to have that to come in.
So what about
Yeah.
the market itself, though? Does it have to be?
We don't, no. They bring in their own coolers. They bring in their own coolers.
Marion?
Your lights off?
Marion,
There you go.
there we go.
Who turned me off?
It was the mayor.
This is the end that Farmers Market Association will help us. That by being a member of the Farmers Market Association, that also gives us $5 million in liability for any of the vendors if they do something, so the vendors don't have to do their liability. And they also give you guidance on how to set up a farmers market. There's a complete book on how to do it. So we would work under the direction of the Farmers Market Association. That's what they're there for.
Mark, Councillor Rafi.
So there's two proposals. The one for the Christmas market, as you said, is probably time is of the essence, and personally I support moving ahead with that one because it has a definite timeline. I think the farmers market would warrant a lot further discussion with committee of the whole and with council because it's a longer term commitment, and I believe we have other plans for that building as well that would have to be taken into consideration. So I think that one would take a lot more discussion, but I'd certainly be in favor of the Christmas one. Going ahead with that, and it would also be a good, it would give us a good feel for the kind of reception that you would get in that facility for that type of event. I don't know what else to call it, so I'd be in favor of moving ahead with that one.
Okay, Deputy Mayor Bell. John.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Marion, thank you very much for your presentation. Obviously very timely with the Christmas season coming, but obviously, yes, this building is sitting there vacant. I support Councillor Rapke's assessment. This does speak well for economic development in West Grey. It speaks well for a need that could be used coming up to Christmas. And I think it's a great idea. These have been very successful in other places. I don't see any reason why it couldn't be so here. So I am also in support of this.
Carol.
Thank you.
Councillor
I also, Mark kind of already spoke the words I was going to say, but I thought that if we could do the Christmas one, it would give us and you a good flavor of the kind of traffic you might get, and so I think it's a great idea. The farmers market as well. I mean, that's look at the places that have them and how they've grown, and we need something to stimulate our town. That's for sure. And as you say, it would bring people in who would then perhaps go from the farmers market to lunch or gas or on the main street. But I'd certainly support starting with the Christmas one and go from there, see how it goes for you, and we can have our discussion, you know, on long term, because I imagine you're looking at long term for farmers market. Would that be a year-round farmers market?
Yes, yes, and I agree. This is what I'm saying. I'd like to get approval tonight to do this Christmas market, and that will be able to allow us to gauge doing a true farmers market. But I'd like to go ahead to continue to investigate and look into the farmers market and start searching it out.
Anybody else? Anything else? Mr. Thompson.
Worry about Santa.
Has he got a pecuniary interest in Santa?
I want to know.
Yeah, you do.
This Santa from the Saugeen Valley, do you budget this figure, or is this what Saugeen Valley's?
No, the Saugeen Conservation is giving us everything at no cost. I spoke with Shannon Wood, and I get to go in there and pick the Christmas decor we want, and from when they take down the Christmas in the country, the end of November, it will come to us at the building. But we will need to fill the Santa suit.
Oh, yeah.
We will need to hire the person, so that budget is for employment.
Oh, okay, all right. I wondered when you said about the fire department or the fire services.
Well, if we got our Santa for free, we wouldn't have to, we wouldn't need that money.
I kind of have an in with that fella. Maybe we could talk later.
That would be great.
Okay, Rob?
Yes, thank you.
All right, yeah. Do you know one that comes free? Do you know a Santa Claus that
Oh, yes,
comes
I
free?
do,
Yeah, okay, I was hoping that might come in. Bev, gets back on track, thanks.
You have in here that the vendors are responsible for their own insurance for the, in the event of theft, fire, or breakage. But who's going to be responsible for the insurance on the actual building and?
Well, that would be under the town for liability for this event. That's why I said, but when we become an actual farmers market association, then they cover it for $5 million. Now, this is going to be, I want to make this clear, this is the West Gray's market, not mine.
No, I understand that, but I guess there's a little bit more work to maybe do before we go ahead and pass something like this, because depending on insurance, you know, whether we're even allowed to add something like this onto our insurance policies, or what the cost is, or...
Usually you would put it under, sorry.
I'm going to say the building itself is already under our
Yes, and I'm
direction,
talking
under
about
our
people,
insurance.
the public going in to access it.
It would have to be, I'm probably going out on a limb and looking at Larry for a little clarification, but I think what Marion, in the concept that we discussed, you know, in a short time last Friday, before she ran off to another appointment and left me to lock up the place. But anyway, when we're talking about it, it's no different than us basically renting out the arena right now to private.
Yeah.
We'll be renting what Marion is suggesting, and I think that the resolution, maybe that Mark's drafting up here, is kind of generic, that we work with the staff, West Gray staff, and possibly a couple of councillors or whatever, works with Marion,
Works with Bev.
works with Bev and Marion, or Marion and whoever, to, you know, use their expertise and help us do some of this advertising and what, as I said, just as a generic of getting it up and going here and working with them on that project. You've been kind of designated, Bev, or you know, sorry, Bev.
Yeah, I'd like to introduce Bev to everybody. You want to come up, Bev, and say hi? Yeah. As I said to you, Kevin, this was my idea, but I didn't want to do it.
Yeah, I've heard that a couple of times, especially that one where I'm going to be in Europe for 3 weeks in November.
Yeah, life is tough.
You're on there, Bev.
Okay, I was going to say, with the insurance, most of us direct sales, I'm in direct sales myself for 13 years, but most of us have insurance. I know my company, we each have $1 million. So the direct sales people would come along with their own insurance too on top, so.
But artisans and crafters don't.
No.
And that would be something I think we'd have to look at, you know, if we're renting it out, it would be our liability in the parking lot.
It would be
A
like,
dozen other different things that we would have to look at on that, Bev, yeah.
it would be like you hosting a festival or anything like that. It would be under your. But when we do the farmers market, that's when it goes under the other insurance.
I don't know. Is it just Bev, or is there a last name there, Bev?
Burgess,
Burgess?
2 S's, yeah.
Yes, thank you. Should have known that. Any other questions for Bev or Marion on this type of a concept? I know that the municipality, we've tried to work with a couple of other groups, and we discussed it the other day about on farmers markets and different things. I still think that it is a very advantageous thing to have, and as you said, with the artisans that we have in this area. Some of them do go over the boundary into other ones, but those are the B artisans. All the A artisans are in West Gray. It's just phenomenal for the size and the number we have exponentially. It just doesn't seem to make sense, but it's kind of like car sales. All the car dealers want to be in the same place, and I think it's something here with the same with the artisans, that they feel that comfort of having other artisans around to share ideas and concepts with, and that's what we've become. Now, the idea is to generate and show the rest of the communities around us, or the rest of the country, or the rest of the world what we have here, and this may be the start of being able to do it. So, I do have a resolution here in front of me. I'm going to introduce it at this point in time. It was moved by Mark Rapke and seconded by Carol Lawrence. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby supports the proposed Durham Christmas Market to be held at the former Rona property on Fridays 3 to 8 from November 7th to 2014 to, November 7th, 2014 to December 19th, 2014. And further, that municipal staff work with Marion Shannon on the formation of a budget and to deal with other pertinent issues such as insurance coverage, etc. Now, are you feeling, so the mover and seconder, Marion has offered Ms. Burgess up for interrogation on doing this detail. Do you mind if we put your name in here too, Bev?
Sure, go ahead.
The two names would be Marion and Bev. Bev Burgess, yes. Okay, mover and seconder refines that, adding the name. Any questions on the motion? I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. So between September the 15th and November the 7th, we've got time to get 50 artisans or 35 artisans.
We can get that in a day.
That's the easy part.
The hard part's going to be the marketing and the advertising. That takes the work. Finding the artisans won't be an issue.
Right.
That's a beautiful building. It's nice and bright and clean, and it's just a nice venue for us. The
Ample parking. Carol.
I just want to say kudos to you and your people coming to us with this great idea. It's wonderful to find this enthusiasm and great ideas out there, and I hope we can work together on this and see where it goes.
great.
So you're going to do
you
some
very
shopping then?
Absolutely. Carol likes to do shopping. I know
That's
that.
a good
So,
thing.
yeah.
Now,
Speak for-
can I get anything in regards to pursuing the Farmers Market Association? In other words, putting more information together, some numbers, approaching farmers to see what interest there is there. I'm not asking for you to approve the farmers market. I was just asking for us to be able to move forward in planning to propose it in the future.
I'll stick my neck out and I would say yes. You know, we're going to need those, as you said, trying to get commitment and interest in April to open in May is a recipe for disaster. Probably starting now and working away with that, with your connections in that business and trying to put a business plan together for us and work with us. I don't see a problem in that at all.
And doing the Christmas market is a great testing ground. And with it running and other farmers and vendors seeing the success of the Christmas market, that's when to nip them, to get them interested and enticed, rather than waiting till February, March, when everybody's got the blues and have forgotten about the market.
Yep. Pique their interest while it's at its height. Okay?
Okay, great.
Now, Larry, I'm going to put that on your broad shoulders as, we did say staff here, and economic development. And we do have a chair of the Economic Development Committee that's, not really that busy in the next month and a half, as some of the rest of us at this table are. So maybe he can, really deal with some of that too.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead, Larry.
Thank you.
I'd be more than happy to work with Ms. Shannon and her committee, as well as bring on the necessary staff and consult with our Chair of the Economic Development Committee, move this.
Okay, well, Marion, Bev, group, I look forward to it. It's something that's come together rather quickly. Appreciate your enthusiasm and the look forward to, helping us, because this isn't, I think as everybody, or hopefully everybody recognizes, it's not a Marion and Bev concept and program that's going to be run. It's something you're bringing forward to West Grey to run. Just hopefully we can tap into some of your expertise and make it extremely successful. Because I know it's going to be successful, I just want it to be extremely successful. Okay, well, thank you very, very much for coming out. And we will continue to get this program up and then work further on the farmers market as we're going forward on this. Okay, again, thank you very much. Now we're down to other business. It is a very open public meeting. If you want to stay for the rest of the business, you can. No. Okay. Okay, we'll get now down to the rest of our agenda.
A couple messages.
Do you want, I guess, yeah, somebody went to Santa Claus. Do you want to take a couple of minutes, just a break for a second? All right, we'll break for a second, get the teacup filled up, or two people that were most prominent in getting that float together. Trish Black and Steve Earhart had volunteered many, many hours in putting that float together, so they were here with a presentation with me this afternoon at just this afternoon. So congratulations to Trish and Steve for putting the float together, and give ourselves a pat on the back for West Grey winning that prize. And so we'll see. Anyways, getting down to the accounts, the vouchers, we have them here. We've had the chance to review them. Is there any questions or comments? Questions on those accounts? Good job. She's got a great job done on it. I have a motion moved by John Eccles and seconded by John A. Bell. Be it resolved that the Director of Finance Treasurer be authorized to pay the accounts presented as voucher number 17, 2014 of the Municipality of West Grey in the amount of $2,535,898.68. Is there any questions on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. The next one on Carrie's report is the OSIF and the BCF, SCF. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm jumping one there. Very right, Mark. Thanks for keeping me on guard. The Durham Library Building Committee. Alternative site investigation. They are looking at a couple of other sites after our Committee of the Whole discussion. There was a request to go out and take a look at a couple of sites for new building, and would they be acceptable sites to build on. And they've recognized that there will need to be some expenditures into investigating those two sites, and they have made a request to come out of the library building reserve for up to $10,000. Is there any questions or comments on that? Councillor Lawrence.
I want to say the key word is up to, like it's not anticipated it would be anywhere near that, but at least there's a flexibility there if it does get into more costs than what we would
for any of those investigations, it is going to take some funds, and there are funds available in that building.